Hi, and welcome to Focus, Grow, and Thrive. I'm Jim Vasconcellos.
And I'm Kathy Vasconcellos. Today, we are going to talk about a story that Jim calls Who Peed in the Pool. It's a story from growing up in New Orleans. It's one of my favorite stories, actually. But how the story relates to the workplace. You want to tell us about that story, Jim?
It's a story of when I was about 8 years old in New Orleans, and one of our neighbors, Miss June, happened to have a pool. And in those days and where we lived, they were not common. And so what Miss June would do is allow all the neighborhood kids to swim in the pool, in her pool in the summer for 25 cents all day. We could just swim. And it was great. So this one time we were all just laughing, splashing, having fun. And then all of a sudden somebody yells, Scotty peed in the pool. And everybody's just like jumping out and we're just flying around. And then we're all standing outside of the pool, pointing fingers at each other and yelling and all this kind of stuff. And then next thing you know it, Miss June comes out and she's like, what's going on out here? And it was like, Scotty peed in the pool. And no, I didn't. And then, everybody just keeps yelling and pointing fingers. And Miss June got so mad and said, pool's closed. So she closed the pool for 2 weeks that summer. So she just kicked us all out. And so for the next 2 weeks, we were just sitting on the curb outside of her house, just whining, complaining, chin in hands, still poking at each other about who did what. And so, to me, there's no better place to get a feel for this than in the workplace. The workplace is like one big pool. One action, one decision, one choice by anyone affects everyone. There's really kind of two aspects in this area, right? There's the leadership side you can look at, and also the team member side. So when no one takes responsibility or accountability, we start focusing on the issue and who to blame in a moment. And we get so entangled in doing that we don't work to resolve the issue or the problem. And so, it becomes little factions happen. You can have people get siloed out. Some people build cliques and things like that. And it just perpetuates the problems. Obviously we were just kids at the time, and certainly no one's going to take credit for that type of
No,
incident there.
nobody's going to take credit for peeing in the pool.
Like who warmed the waters next to me, right? But that's how you feel in the workplace sometimes. Sometimes things are affecting you and you don't know what happened and you don't know what's going on. And then suddenly, we start thinking someone happened. We make a lot of assumptions, and then all these problems begin to happen because we don't have this open dialogue to work through some of these issues. Yeah, this is one of the areas that are very difficult because everybody knows the right words to say. Oh, it's okay to make mistakes. It's fine. We'll work it through until it actually happens. And then when it happens, we show disapproval in many different ways, or people get responsibilities removed. It's a bit of retaliation in very slight ways. And so then people think they actually need to be perfect. So your words are not matching your support going along the way. We do have to build relationships. We do have to build trust. For me, when I look at mistakes, that's an investment in an individual. Every time a mistake is made, we have an opportunity to clarify, work through it together, find better processes, different ways of doing things, which is all positive on that side. But we want to be able to have people be able to do that. To me, that investment is just like any investment in training, development, or whatever. And this is why I worry sometimes when we don't do these things. We say it's okay to make mistakes, but then we cause all this havoc underneath. And then sometimes you start seeing turnover and people getting pushed out the door. And that's very costly for a business. Look, Miss June, rightly so, with a whole bunch of kids and screaming, pointing, and,
Yeah.
we all get thrown at. That's a mutual accountability. That's why I also look at mutual accountability with team members. We're all gathered together. We have a lot of knowledge. We're working together. If something happens, I want to see support going in it. Of course, someone is to blame. We know someone did something.
Yes.
You have to be able to admit that and then support them through that, because when you do it, you're going to want support through it as well. And that's what I'd like to see a team go through first.
We both know there's nothing better than an atmosphere of trust.
Mm-hmm.
When you can speak up and say, oh, shoot, I did that.
Yeah, you have to be approachable. You have to look at your demeanor as well. It's very easy to get very reactive in these areas. But the more you begin to handle issues like this and you realize, look, these are all manageable issues. They're repairable. You can fix them. You can learn from them. There's so many aspects of work. And look, if you do those things and people continue to do the same mistakes over and over, that's about being careless or incompetent or something of that nature.
That's a different story.
Yeah, that's a different story.
If somebody kept peeing in the pool every time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I peed in the pool again. And then you walk away and it's like, you're leaving me in the warm water again. This is really frustrating, right? I like my water a little cooler here.
Yeah.
But that's what tends to happen.
What would you tell a new manager?
We have to set expectations on the front end with a team. And sometimes we can set expectations by having some ground rules as a team. And those ground rules just lay out the way that we expect ourselves to interact together when there's problems. How we disagree is very important. Managers have a lot of work understanding people and in dynamics of teams and things of that nature. And if you can learn to see that, that's a lot of what your management is really about, are these interactions. So your personal interactions and the way others interact, you have to be able to have conversations on all these sides.
Yes. As a manager, your reaction to somebody says everything.
Absolutely.
Or if anybody will ever tell you anything again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One action, one decision, one choice by anyone can affect everyone.
And we'll leave it there. Thank you.
That's Who Peed in the Pool.
Yeah.